What if we told you that the legendary CeCe Winans, one of the most respected voices in gospel music, just dropped a bombshell that has the entire world talking? In an unprecedented moment, she stepped out of her usual quiet grace and boldly called out none other than Tyler Perry, and not behind closed doors but right in front of millions. She didn't hold back. She didn't sugarcoat it. She said, and I quote, "I hate him." Yes, you heard that correctly. The Queen of Gospel has finally spoken, and what she's revealing about Tyler Perry is sending shockwaves through the entertainment world. But what made CeCe finally break her silence? And what's behind this public outcry? For decades, CeCe Winans has been the epitome of class, elegance, and unwavering faith. Known for her quiet strength and commitment to worship over warfare, she's remained above the fray. Yet, in a move no one saw coming, she's not just distancing herself from Tyler Perry, she's laying it all out in front of the world. Her words? Bold. Her truth? Uncompromising. "I don't agree with what he does. I hate it, and I have to speak up now." Those weren't just words, they were a declaration, a moment of reckoning. And now the question on everyone's mind is, how did we get here? How did CeCe Winans, the symbol of gospel grace, reach this breaking point with the self-proclaimed man of faith, Tyler Perry? The answer will shock you, because what CeCe is revealing goes far deeper than anyone could have imagined. He has given millions of dollars, included gospel performers in his movies, and even performed on stage alongside Bishop Paul Morton and T.D. Jakes. He was viewed by many as an unusual but effective link between the church and Hollywood. However, things were never as flawless behind the scenes as they appeared to be, particularly among gospel purists like CeCe Winans. Rumors of spiritual compromise, improper stage depictions, and dubious material in his shows started to generate discreet discussions. These rumors have finally been made public. In this video, we're revealing the entire background of CeCe's public remarks regarding Tyler Perry, including their hidden past, the reasons behind her prolonged silence, the response from the entertainment and gospel communities, and how this confrontation may permanently alter the relationship between fame and faith. The sequence of events leading up to this point will astound you. Additionally, we have unique context, quotes, and insights that demonstrate the depth of this story. That's not all though, as CeCe's remarks were only the start. There's more to the story, and it may all be explained by an occurrence that happened at a significant gospel event in the past. It becomes intriguing at this point. We must travel back almost 10 years to a time that may have been routine on the surface, but had a subtle impact on the gospel world in order to comprehend CeCe's recent remarks against Tyler Perry. One of the most prominent evenings in gospel music, the Stellar Awards honored both established artists and up-and-coming talent. There was a sense of reverence for ministry as well as music throughout the room. Additionally, Tyler Perry made an unexpected appearance as a special guest presenter. Now, this was exciting for Perry fans. Many still viewed him as a son of the church, despite the fact that he had already solidified his place in the entertainment industry with the immensely popular Meta series. In interviews, he spoke about his beliefs, praised God, and often used gospel musicians in his work. However, this is where the mood shifted. Tyler's speech swiftly became dramatic and personal, rather than remaining centered on the gospel or paying tribute to the prize winners. He broke into his trademark humor, told stories that some felt were unsuitable for the religious context, and even said a couple things that clearly unnerved several people in the audience. CeCe Winans was one of the people who appeared to be in shock. Although not much was captured by the cameras, a number of gospel insiders who were present said that CeCe, who was seated in the front row, was obviously uncomfortable. She didn't clap, according to one report. She did not chuckle. She kept her gaze down and folded her arms. She seemed to be praying to maintain her composure. Several gospel musicians were questioned about Tyler's appearance later that evening during backstage interviews. While CeCe Winans avoided interviews entirely, the majority responded diplomatically, grinning for the cameras and saying things like, "It's great to see our people in the industry getting involved in gospel spaces." Witnesses said that she left the event early and declined to go to the after-party, where Tyler was the honored guest. Nothing was made public at the time, but it's obvious that something wasn't right. It was the spark. CeCe appeared to cut ties with Tyler's projects and brand after that. She never again shared a stage with him or made an appearance in his movies. Additionally, CeCe discreetly maintained in her own lane while other gospel singers took part in his plays. The majority of admirers at the time attributed it to style. They were unaware, however, of CeCe's inner struggles with what she described as a conflict of spiritual integrity, and she would eventually speak up years later. They don't want you to know the surprising part though. According to reports, CeCe made a bold comment that nobody anticipated her saying during a private gospel round discussion that was off camera in 2019. "I don't support anything that blurs the line between mockery and ministry," one witness remembers her saying. "I can't." CeCe might have started getting ready to say something more confident at that point, and she's not holding back now. In 2025, CeCe Winans done the unimaginable after years of peaceful distance, silence, and discomfort behind the scenes. She was straightforward, outspoken, and unapologetic in her statements. All of this occurred during what was meant to be a humorous interview section on a Christian podcast that was presented by a younger worship leader who frequently interviews celebrities in the field of religious entertainment. Up until one surprising name was mentioned, the interview was conducted in a cool, collected manner. "Perry, Tyler, CeCe, you've worked with so many people across gospel and entertainment," the host naively inquired. CeCe Winans paused, took a long breath, and then responded in a way that stopped the internet from scrolling. "Is there anyone you'd like to collaborate with? Maybe even someone like Tyler Perry?" What would happen next that would set social media on fire within hours? "No, I wouldn't. I cannot endorse his beliefs. I've been quiet for a while, but now I must speak the truth. I disagree with the way he combines confusion and ridicule with religion. I detest it." The weight in her voice was palpable. This was no time for gossip. There was no personal grudge involved. This was a line in the sand drawn by CeCe Winans, a living gospel hero. CeCe went on, "We've made the mistake of letting fame and influence validate people who don't always reflect what we preach." Despite the host's obvious attempt to reroute, there's a difference between anointing and entertainment. Just because someone says God doesn't mean they're on the same page. The video went viral right away, and reactions were all over YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and Twitter. Fans were shocked. Influencers shared their thoughts on X, and gospel artists reposted the video. A tweet of the day with the title, CeCe said, "What the church has been afraid to say for years," racked up over 1.5 million views in 24 hours. Her candor was commended by others. What has to be spoken is finally being expressed by someone with a platform. Bless CeCe. Some thought she was being too severe. CeCe is legendary. However, this came out as judgmental. Many have benefited from Tyler's assistance. The identical question was posed by prominent publications that covered the story, including Christian Post, The Shade Room, Gospel Complex, and Rolling Out. Did CeCe just reveal the unsettling reality that the gospel community has been trying to avoid? The church community responds. While many prominent preachers kept quiet, a few courageous ones voiced their support. Tyler Perry said nothing, but a prominent bishop wrote, "You can't rebuke demons you still laugh with." CeCe isn't wrong. Not even a cryptic tweet, not a word, not a reply. His silence merely fueled suspicion and the flames. Did he take offense? Was he not paying attention to it? Or was there something going on in the background? The portion that left fans stunned, however, is this. Days after CeCe's interview went viral, her name was inexplicably taken off the guest list of a significant gospel convention in Atlanta, which Tyler Perry has previously sponsored. Is it a coincidence? Fans aren't buying it though. CeCe is being silenced. This has nothing to do with unity. It has to do with control. CeCe's audacity stood out in a society where the powerful are sometimes shielded by influence. Tyler was not dragged by her. She did not swear at him, but she wouldn't keep quiet. And that's the main reason her statements rocked the gospel world. Tyler Perry has been treading carefully for years. With one foot firmly planted in Hollywood, the other foot on the pulpit. It appears to be a smooth balance on paper. A man who gives to churches across the country, incorporates gospel music into his productions, and attributes his prosperity to God. However, behind the scenes, several people have subtly questioned the authenticity of that photograph, and those long-held suspicions are now being discussed again in light of CeCe Winans' incendiary remarks. With unvarnished examination this time, first, is it fiction or faith? The issue with Perry's depictions. Let's discuss Perry's most famous and contentious work, the media franchise. Although Tyler became a fortune and the media films made millions laugh, detractors have long maintained that the persona goes too far, particularly in the religious world. An obnoxious, weed-smoking, gun-wielding granny wearing a church dress. It was humorous to some. Others saw it as ministry masquerading as derision. Although CeCe Winans has never before publicly criticized Madhadia, various media outlets started quoting her from previous private conversations and removing old video when her interview went viral. She allegedly stated in one that, when the church becomes a punchline, we lose our witness. Tyler Perry has made it his specialty to transform suffering into comedy. Therefore, it's hurtful to laugh at dysfunction because it's not holy. However, many feel that by doing this, he has trivialized the church experience by fusing the sacred and the secular. Second, there's criticism of church ties. Perry is more than just a director. He has collaborated with some of the most influential figures in the Black church over the years. Despite having no formal ministerial training, he has given millions to ministries, supported housing projects through churches, and even delivered sermons from pulpits. Do you recall the widely shared incident from 2013 where Tyler touched Bishop T.D. Jakes at a church session, and Jake seemed to lose his soul? The internet took off. It was regarded by some as a strong moment of faith. It was denounced as an emotional show by some, particularly theologians. The laying on of hands is not a Hollywood prop, one Bible scholar even stated, and even though she was quiet in public at the time, CeCe Winans allegedly turned down an invitation to sing at that service after finding out Perry would be participating. If we continue to treat sacred ordinances as performance, we're headed toward apostasy. Has Tyler Perry used the church for credibility while undermining its spiritual seriousness? Is one of the questions that many fans are reviewing now that she has finally spoken up. 3. What CeCe's remarks revealed. Numerous gospel musicians, church leaders, and entertainment bloggers have come forward after CeCe's remarks were made public, a few anonymously to express their discomfort. According to one choir director, the atmosphere was off when their pastor interrupted a church screening of Diary of a Mad Black Woman in the middle of the film. According to a gospel singer who previously tried out for a Perry theatrical play, they were instructed to make their performance less religious. According to reports, an Atlanta pastor forbade the showing of Perry films in the youth ministry because he was worried that people may mistake them for hype rather than purity. The fire was obviously not started by CeCe. She simply revealed it. What many had been whispering for years found a voice in her words. Tyler Perry may have a huge financial effect, but his spiritual influence is nuanced. Here's the twist though. According to a former employee who worked closely with Tyler Perry's production company in the early 2010s, Perry received advice from several publicists to continue collaborating with gospel singers, not just as a sign of true support, but also as a means of managing his reputation. The church loved him, they knew. If this is accurate, the gospel relationships were as much about public relations as they were about praise. They encouraged him, keep Bishop Jake around, keep Yolanda Adams nearby, keep those gospel singers in your orbit. It helps balance the rest. Furthermore, a lot of people think that the way other gospel musicians handle celebrity crossover is going to change significantly now that CeCe Winans has openly broken off relations. More than just controversy has resulted from CeCe Winans' audacious and surprising remarks on Tyler Perry. Artists, pastors, and gospel leaders are being forced to choose a side because they have made a clear line in the sand. Raise your voice or remain mute. Additionally, the silence is deafening. Let's begin with a few courageous individuals who have come forward, supporting voices, standing with CeCe. Donnie McClurkin was one of the first people to openly support CeCe. He shared a video of her interview on Instagram with the statement, "This kind of clarity is rare. Thank you, CeCe, for being courageous." His post drew both praise and criticism. Donnie, however, who has experienced his own difficult past with public criticism, refused to back down. During a Facebook live stream shortly after, Pastor Kim Burrell added, "Some of us been biting our tongues so long, we forgot how to talk." But CeCe reminded us that there's power in standing on the word. All money ain't good money. Other artists, such as Todd Dulaney and Jonathan McReynolds, have been more subdued, enjoying CeCe's interview and subtly sharing quotes about their experiences, choosing holiness over hype. Although the circle is still modest, it is expanding. Those who said nothing. Let's discuss the quiet though. The well-known pastors, entertainers, and gospel singers who have either backed Tyler Perry or associated with him have remained silent. Yolanda Adams, who has made appearances in his works. Perry and Kirk Franklin have worked together and share several stages. Fans are observing that Tasha Cobbs, Leonard Bishop, Jake, Marvin Sapp, and even Bebenin's own brother, CeCe, have all kept quiet. Gospel is real quiet right now. Yall, sing about boldness. But when CeCe finally showed it, y'all disappeared. This silence is telling, according to one tweet that went viral. It poses an uncomfortable yet important query. Do these leaders fear missing out on opportunities? Or do they really not care about the discussion? Speaking up can be dangerous in a field where endorsements, exposure, and access are all entwined with faith. But quiet sends a louder statement. What this implies for influence and the gospel's future. Although CeCe's audacious action began as a personal declaration, it has since grown into a much more significant cultural shift. People are reconsidering who they support, who they collaborate with, and what actually embodies Christ-centered art, as opposed to anything that merely makes reference to God for commercial purposes. Discussions regarding spiritual standards are being initiated by churches. Again, some fans are boycotting productions that blur the boundaries between ministry and satire, and young gospel singers are raising questions that their mentors are refusing to address. CeCe and Tyler aren't the only ones involved. This is roughly the direction the church is taking. It concerns whether gospel musicians will continue to let themselves be used as props in popular culture, or if they will stand up for truth, holiness, and authenticity. Because this moment has demonstrated something for CeCe Winans. The enemy has a microphone if you remain silent for too long. The question now isn't what CeCe said, but rather why nobody else is speaking up. Do you support Winans, CeCe? Do you think Tyler Perry's relationship with the church has shifted from being about purpose to being more about platform? Or did CeCe go too far, in your opinion? Let's start a conversation. Now leave your ideas in the comments. If you admire the bravery of CeCe, please like this video. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the reality behind the headlines. And subscribe if you want more unvarnished, uncut analyses of today's most contentious church events. Because the culture will discuss it if the church doesn't.